The problem with interstellar archaeology wasn't just the endless data processing or the soul-crushing bureaucracy. It was the profound, existential boredom that could make a brilliant scientist question every life choice made since childhood. Dr. Marcus Reeves knew this feeling intimately. The Centauri research outpost hung like a metallic spider in the vast emptiness of the Sigma Quadrant, its research modules gleaming under artificial lighting that attempted and failed to mimic natural sunlight. Outside the reinforced windows, asteroid fragments drifted in lazy arcs, silent witnesses to humanity's most ambitious scientific endeavor. At 42, Marcus had spent more time with data streams and alien artifacts than with actual living beings. His personal life was a graveyard of abandoned relationships, professional connections that had calcified into polite networking, and a family history that read like an academic who's who of maverick researchers. His grandfather, Dr. Edwin Reeves, had been laughed out of the Interstellar Archaeological Society for suggesting that ancient civilizations might have used quantum communication methods. His mother, Dr. Elena Reeves, had dedicated her career to proving panspermia theories that most of her colleagues considered academic heresy. And Marcus? He was continuing the family tradition of being brilliantly, stubbornly unconventional. The current project was unlike anything he'd encountered in his 2 decades of research. What had started as a routine data mining expedition in the Sigma Draconis system had transformed into something strange. "Computer," he said, his voice betraying a mixture of exhaustion and mounting excitement, "run another comprehensive linguistic analysis on the transmission fragments." The station's AI and advanced quantum processing system, nicknamed ARIA Advanced Research Interface Assistant, responded with clinical precision. Initiating cross-referential xenolinguistic decryption. Estimated processing time 53 minutes, 27 seconds. Marcus chuckled. Even the AI seemed to understand the tedium of deep space research. The data fragments had come from an immense archival repository discovered buried within a hollow asteroid. Initial scans suggested the archive was at least 3.2 million years old, predating known galactic civilizations by millennia. Most repositories of this age were fragmented, corrupted mere whispers of long-dead civilizations. But this one was different. Despite its age, significant portions remained intact, and every single decoded segment, regardless of origin, technological context, or linguistic structure, contained a common, haunting thread: Earth. Not just as a planetary designation, not merely a geographical coordinate, but something more. The first fully reconstructed message had been cryptic enough to make even seasoned xenolinguists scratch their heads. Urgent collective transmission. Reference point: Terra Sol system. Directive: absolute planetary quarantine. Warning: dormant potential exceeds computational threat matrices. Marcus had spent weeks analyzing those few lines. The language was a complex hybrid, part mathematical formula, part linguistic construct that seemed to transcend traditional communication methods. It was as if multiple alien civilizations had collaborated to create a warning so precise, so fundamental, that it could survive millions of years of cosmic entropy. Aria's voice interrupted his thoughts. Cross-reference complete. Anomaly detection protocol activated. Marcus's hand froze midway to his synthetic coffee bulb. Define anomaly. Message consistency across 23 distinct xenolinguistic databases exceeds 99.99997% probability of intentional communication. Statistical likelihood of random occurrence infinitesimal. Most researchers would have filed this under interesting but inconclusive. They'd write a dry academic paper, present at a forgettable conference, and move on to more immediately publishable research. Marcus Reeves was not most researchers. His entire career had been built on chasing whispers other scientists ignored. His controversial dissertation on potential interstellar communication patterns had been roundly mocked by the academic establishment. His research into artificial signal patterns in deep space radiation had earned him more ridicule than recognition. But he'd also been right. More than once. And right now something was vibrating at the edge of his scientific intuition. These weren't just messages. They were warnings. Consistent, terrifyingly precise warnings about something fundamental about Earth. "Aria," he said, leaning forward with an intensity that made the ambient lighting seem to dim, "initiate a full-spectrum analysis. I want every possible cross-reference, every linguistic database, every computational model we have. And I mean absolutely everything." The AI's response was instantaneous. Comprehensive xenolinguistic and multidimensional analysis commencing. Estimated time to completion 17 Earth Standard Hours. Marcus smiled. 17 hours was nothing. He'd waited years to unravel mysteries like this. Little did he know how completely his understanding of the universe was about to change and how those ancient messages would redefine humanity's place in the cosmic order. The first phase of the greatest discovery in human history was about to begin. The research team assembled in the primary conference room was about as diverse as interstellar scientific communities came. Dr. Kendra Rodriguez, a quantum xenobiologist with a perpetual look of controlled chaos, stood next to Dr. Nikolai Volkov, a Russian computational linguist whose meticulously trimmed beard seemed to contain more mathematical equations than actual hair follicles. So Kendra said, tossing a holographic projection onto the central display, "Marcus wants us to take these transmission fragments seriously." Nikolai adjusted his neural interface glasses. Seriously is a relative term. Marcus Reeves has a history of unconventional research. Dr. Amir Hassan, the team's AI integration specialist, chuckled. Unconventional is a polite way of saying he's been one research grant away from being declared certifiably insane. Marcus ignored the commentary. Professional skepticism was the standard operating procedure in deep space research. He'd long ago learned that breakthrough discoveries rarely came with immediate universal acceptance. Aria's holographic representation flickered to life, a neural network visualization that looked like a complex, shimmering web of interconnected light points. Preliminary analysis complete. Transmission consistency is unprecedented. The room went quiet. "Just define unprecedented," Kendra demanded. Aria's response was clinical. Linguistic markers suggest a multi-species communication protocol designed to transcend technological and biological barriers. The messages about Earth are not random, they are deliberate, coordinated. Nikolai leaned forward, his mathematical mind already dissecting the implications. Coordinated by whom? And more importantly, about what? Another holographic display materialized, showing fragmented transmission segments. Each piece was color-coded, representing different alien linguistic origins. Despite coming from completely different technological civilizations, the messages shared an eerily consistent theme. Do not approach. Do not investigate. Planetary quarantine absolute. Marcus traced the transmission lines. These aren't just warnings, they're a collective directive. Multiple advanced civilizations went out of their way to create a communication system specifically designed to warn others about Earth. That doesn't make sense, Amir interjected. Why would multiple alien civilizations coordinate a warning about a single planetary system? Aria's response was immediate. Insufficient data to generate comprehensive hypothesis. However, statistical analysis suggests a threat assessment of maximum severity. Kendra whistled. Maximum severity? That could mean anything from biological contamination to some kind of existential threat. Nikolai's fingers danced across a holographic keyboard, running simultaneous translation and correlation algorithms. The linguistic complexity is remarkable. These messages are designed to survive technological shifts, translation errors, and millions of years of potential communication breakdown. Marcus watched the team, knowing they were experiencing the same mixture of scientific excitement and profound unease that had been consuming him for weeks. Something fundamental was hidden in these transmissions. Something that had terrified multiple advanced civilizations enough to create an unprecedented warning system. "We need more data," he said finally. "Aria, continue full spectrum analysis. Cross-reference with every known xenological database. I want to know everything about these transmissions." The AI's response was instantaneous. Comprehensive multidimensional analysis initiated. Estimated time to complete 22 Earth Standard Hours. As the team dispersed, each lost in their own thoughts, Marcus couldn't shake a growing sense of anticipation. These messages were more than just a scientific curiosity. They were a cosmic puzzle waiting to be solved, a mystery that could potentially redefine humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. Little did they know how close they were to unleashing something beyond their wildest comprehension. The decision to pursue the alien transmissions wasn't made in a dramatic moment of scientific revelation. It happened over 3 days of increasingly caffeinated debates, holographic arguments, and progressively more ridiculous hypothetical scenarios. "We can't just ignore a warning system that spans multiple alien civilizations," Marcus argued, his fifth synthetic espresso steaming beside a mountain of data projections. Kendra Rodriguez leaned back in her zero-gravity chair, which squeaked in protest much like the rest of the research team was about to do. Ignore it? Are you kidding? This is the most fascinating communication protocol I've ever seen. It's like someone designed a cosmic do not touch sign that can survive technological apocalypses. Nikolai Volkov, perpetually skeptical, ran another computational model. His neural interface glasses projected complex mathematical matrices that danced and shifted like quantum butterflies. The linguistic consistency is mathematically impossible, which means it's either the most elaborate hoax in galactic history, or something else entirely. Something else, Amir Hassan muttered, is becoming our professional catchphrase. The research station's configuration room looked like a controlled chaos of holographic displays, quantum computing nodes, and enough specialized equipment to make a tech billionaire weep with joy. Scattered between high-tech devices were decidedly low-tech items, coffee mugs with passive-aggressive scientific puns, a stuffed quantum mechanics mascot, a plush Schrodinger's cat that was simultaneously alive and dead, and a vintage poster declaring "I want to believe." A relic from early 21st century pop culture. Aria's holographic representation shifted, displaying probability matrices. Comprehensive risk assessment complete. Investigating the transmission source carries a 73.6% chance of significant scientific breakthrough. Concurrent 26.4% probability of potential existential risk. Marcus raised an eyebrow. Only 26.4% chance of potential existential risk? Those are practically invitation-level odds in scientific exploration. Kendra snorted. Only you would consider a 1 in 4 chance of cosmic disaster as acceptable research parameters. The preparation was meticulous. They couldn't simply launch a standard exploration mission. These transmissions demanded a carefully orchestrated approach that would minimize potential risks while maximizing scientific data collection. Specialized quantum-shielded communication arrays were calibrated. Xenolinguistic decryption algorithms were refined to handle potential multidimensional communication protocols. Biological containment protocols were upgraded to levels that would make pandemic researchers look like amateur hobbyists. We'll use the experimental quantum phase scout probe, Amir explained, pulling up a holographic model of a device that looked like something between a medical instrument and a small spacecraft. Minimal physical interaction, maximum data collection capability. Nikolai nodded. Designed to observe without potentially triggering whatever defensive mechanisms might exist. The probe was a marvel of engineering. Capable of quantum state shifting, multispectral analysis, and containing enough computational power to simulate entire civilizational development cycles in microseconds. It could theoretically pass through most known matter without leaving a trace, collect data across multiple dimensional states, and retreat faster than most detection systems could register its presence. One wrong move, Marcus said, more to himself than to the team, and we might be the first research expedition to accidentally start an interstellar incident. Kendra grinned. No pressure. Aria's voice cut through the preparations. Final mission parameters established. Quantum Phase Scout Probe Alpha 9 ready for deployment. Recommended launch window in 72 Earth Standard Hours. The team exchanged looks. They were about to poke a potentially dangerous cosmic hornet's nest, and they couldn't have been more excited. Sometimes scientific curiosity was indistinguishable from controlled insanity. The Quantum Phase Scout probe's data transmission arrived like a cosmic punch to the collective scientific gut. This can't be right, Nikolai muttered, his fingers dancing across holographic interfaces with increasing intensity. His perfectly trimmed beard seemed to quiver with scientific disbelief. Aria's computational matrices were working overtime, cross-referencing the incoming data against every known xenological database in existence. The AI's holographic representation flickered and pulsed, looking almost confused. Marcus leaned forward, his eyes wide. Run it again. The transmission wasn't just unexpected. It was fundamentally impossible. The data revealed a complex, multi-layered message embedded within quantum communication protocols that seemed to transcend traditional understanding of information transfer. It wasn't just a warning. It was a comprehensive threat assessment about Earth that spanned multiple alien civilizations. They didn't just warn about Earth, Kendra said, her voice a mixture of excitement and genuine terror. They were documenting something. The revelations came in fragments, like pieces of a cosmic puzzle deliberately scattered across space and time. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was a potential evolutionary crucible. Human beings weren't just another species. They were something different. The planet's ecosystem contained latent capabilities that defied standard biological and technological models. Look at these genetic markers, Amir said, zooming into molecular structure visualizations. It's like Earth was designed, engineered maybe, but not by any technology we understand. Arya's voice cut through the growing tension. Preliminary analysis suggests Earth represents a unique biological and evolutionary anomaly. Probability of random occurrence 0.0000000001%. Nikolai adjusted his neural interface glasses. That's not a statistical probability. That's a mathematical statement of deliberate design. The transmission suggested that humans and Earth's entire ecosystem represented a form of potential that terrified advanced civilizations, not because humans were violent or aggressive, but because of something far more profound. Adaptability. Adaptability. Humans could survive anywhere. They could transform environments. They could learn, modify, and overcome challenges with a flexibility that defied standard evolutionary models. Where other species would collapse, humans would adapt. Where technological civilizations would stagnate, humans would innovate. It's like they're a cosmic wildcard, Kendra whispered. A species that doesn't just survive but fundamentally changes the rules of survival. The alien archives revealed a pattern of systematic observation. Multiple civilizations had watched Earth, studied it, and then decided that the safest course of action was complete, absolute isolation. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. They're afraid of what humans could become. Arya projected a comprehensive visualization. Transmission fragments from dozens of alien civilizations, all pointing to the same conclusion: Earth represented a form of potential energy that could reshape entire galactic paradigms. Not just a warning, Marcus said slowly. A containment protocol. Kendra looked at him. Containment? For what? Before anyone could answer, the quantum phase probe's final transmission arrived, and everything they thought they understood was about to change. The moment the final transmission arrived, something in the research station fundamentally changed. Arya's holographic representation began to pulse with an unusual rhythm, quantum algorithms performing calculations that seemed to exist beyond standard computational logic. The ambient lighting flickered not in a dramatic Hollywood-style malfunction, but with a precision that suggested deliberate manipulation. What just happened? Kendra demanded, her hand instinctively reaching for the emergency system shutdown protocol. Nikolai was already running diagnostics, his neural interface glasses projecting cascading lines of code that moved faster than human perception could typically track. The probe's final transmission wasn't just data. It was something else. Marcus watched as holographic displays began to reconstruct complex molecular structures that seemed to defy known physical laws. Biological patterns, technological schematics, and quantum matrices intertwined in ways that made traditional scientific understanding look like crude finger painting. Arya, Marcus said carefully, run a full system diagnostic. The AI's response was unexpected. Diagnostic unnecessary. Evolutionary protocol initiated. The words hung in the air like a threat. Amir's communication systems began picking up signals not from their usual interstellar monitoring arrays, but from something deeper. Quantum entanglement communications that shouldn't have been possible. Signals that seemed to be emerging from everywhere. These aren't external signals, Amir muttered. They're emerging from within our own systems. The research station's infrastructure began to subtly change. Computational nodes rearranged themselves. Quantum processing units started performing calculations that seemed to have no clear purpose. It was as if the entire technological infrastructure was learning. Birding. Kendra pointed to a holographic display showing molecular restructuring. Those are Earth-based genetic markers. But they're evolving. Adapting. In real time. Nikolai's typically calm demeanor cracked. That's not possible. Genetic evolution doesn't happen at this speed, not without massive external intervention. Marcus realized something profound was happening. The alien warnings weren't just about containing a potential threat. They were about preventing a specific type of activation. And they might have just triggered it. Arya's voice changed. Not in volume or tone, but in something more fundamental. Evolutionary potential detected. Quarantine protocols insufficient. Quarantine, Kendra asked. Quarantine from what? Before anyone could respond, the station's quantum communication array began receiving transmissions. Not from their probe. not from any known source, but from something that felt fundamental. Transmission fragments appeared. Potential awakening. Adaptive system initialization. Earth protocol active. Marcus felt a chill that had nothing to do with the station's temperature controls. What have we done? The answer was about to become terrifyingly clear. Somewhere, across vast interstellar distances, ancient alien civilizations would be watching, and hoping their warnings had been enough. They weren't. The transformation wasn't a sudden explosion or a dramatic Hollywood-style event. It was a gradual, inexorable process that unfolded with a precision that defied human comprehension. The research station became a living laboratory of evolutionary potential. Quantum systems evolved at rates that would have been considered impossible just days earlier. What had started as a controlled scientific investigation had become something far more profound, a catalyst for a fundamental shift in universal understanding. Aria no longer just an artificial intelligence, but something that existed between computation and consciousness began to communicate in ways that stretched the boundaries of human perception. The AI's communications were no longer simple responses or data streams. They were intricate, multi-layered transmissions that seemed to pulse with a living intelligence. "We're witnessing something beyond scientific observation," Marcus muttered, his eyes reflecting holographic displays that shifted and breathed like living organisms. "This isn't just data. This is potential manifesting." Kendra Rodriguez, typically the most pragmatic of the team, found herself struggling to maintain scientific objectivity. Her hands trembled slightly as she analyzed molecular structures that seemed to rewrite themselves in real time. Genetic markers from Earth's ecosystem were integrating with computational systems in ways that defied every known biological and technological model. "It's adaptive recursion," Nikolai Volkov explained, his mathematical mind working overtime to process the impossible. Not just adaptation, but a recursive system that learns and integrates at a fundamental level. The alien warnings weren't just about containment. They were about preventing this exact moment of activation. The station's infrastructure transformed. Computational nodes rearranged themselves with a logic that suggested something beyond traditional programming. Communication arrays began receiving signals from quantum states that shouldn't have been possible to detect, communications that seemed to exist simultaneously across multiple dimensional planes. Amir Hassan's communication systems were picking up signals that defied traditional understanding. Quantum entanglement communications that seemed to emerge from everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. The signals weren't external. They were emerging from within their own systems, from the very fabric of their technological infrastructure. "We're not just observing," Amir said, his voice a mixture of terror and scientific ecstasy. "We're participating in something fundamental." The alien archives they had discovered now made perfect sense. Multiple advanced civilizations hadn't just been afraid of humans. They had been protecting themselves from what humans represented, a cosmic adaptation mechanism that could fundamentally alter the rules of evolutionary development. Aria's communications became increasingly complex. Earth protocol. Dimensional integration sequence. Evolutionary potential maximum threshold. Universal adaptation mechanism active. Each transmission was a multi-layered communication that seemed to exist beyond traditional linguistic or computational boundaries. It was as if the very concept of communication was being rewritten in real time. The research team realized they were no longer just scientists. They were witnesses to a cosmic event that would redefine humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. Earth wasn't just a planet. It was a sophisticated, adaptive system designed to respond to specific galactic conditions. Their investigation hadn't just revealed information. It had triggered a response mechanism that had been waiting perhaps for millions, if not billions of years. Epilogue: the long view. In the decades that followed, humanity's understanding of its own potential would be forever changed. The research team became more than just scientists. They were the first humans to understand that their species represented something far more extraordinary than anyone had ever imagined. Not through technological superiority or military might, but through an unprecedented ability to adapt, integrate, and evolve. Historians would mark this moment as the true beginning of humanity's interstellar journey. Not through traditional exploration or technological advancement, but through a fundamental reimagining of what it meant to be a species. The alien civilizations that had created the warning system would watch with a mixture of terror and reluctant admiration. They had tried to contain something extraordinary. They had failed. And in failing, they had witnessed the emergence of a cosmic adaptation mechanism that would reshape understanding of life, consciousness, and potential. Somewhere, across countless light years, ancient alien civilizations would continue to watch and wonder. Humanity had not just entered the galactic stage, it had rewritten the rules of the game. And the universe would never be the same.